Good morning, Simona. Make sure you guys can see as much as you can. Early, I know, but you know what? I thought I would do like a live breakfast to, you know, real time. Get these knives. I have a lot of knives. I'm just going to get those out of the way. Welcome if you're joining. I know you can't see me. I'm just going to make sure you can see the food. See my pan's going. Welcome. Morning, guys. This is Liz Barnett, fitness and food coach based actually in northern New Jersey, but also New York City. Thanks for waking up so damn early. Or maybe this is not early for you, but I was hoping, turn that down. I was hoping today's broadcast kind of would help you realize how easy it is to make a fast and healthy breakfast. So I'm just going to get started while I give everyone a couple minutes. Not entirely sure how many people are turning into Periscope this early. So what are you guys having for breakfast? Welcome. Would love to know what you're having for breakfast. You are having breakfast, right? Hi again. So this is Liz Barnett, fitness and food coach based out of northern New Jersey. Blackberries. Let's see. Hi. Hi, welcome. Shane. Sorry, I'm a little blind. Blackberries and what else, Simona? By themselves? Still in bed. Well, better you than me. So you guys might actually hear I started cooking already. This morning, I'm going to show you how to make the perfect sunny runny egg. So it's partly tutorial, partly informational in terms of, you know, why you might want to forgo the oatmeal or the overnight oats or the green smoothie for breakfast, especially if you're living in the Northeast. Welcome, everybody, like me. I'm going to talk a little bit more kind of why you want to focus your breakfast on protein and healthy fat to set yourself up for success for the rest of the day, both for energy and if you have any certain goals like weight loss or weight maintenance or getting stronger. So welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining. Again, this is Liz. I'm a fitness and food coach based in New York City, down here in my kitchen. I'm going to be making sunny runny eggs with kale and sweet potatoes. And I'm going to be adding some chicken sausage. I know sausage got a lot of press last week, and we'll talk about that as well. Kale is good for the bowels and a lot of other things. And I'll talk about why you don't want to just have kale raw, why you want to have it cooked as well as raw. You want to mix it up. So I have my pan going. So in my pan over here, I actually have some ON ghee butter, which is ghee. A couple weeks ago, or was that last week, I talked about healthy fats and options to cook with. So I prefer to cook with ghee because it has a high smoke point of about 45 degrees Fahrenheit, which means you can cook at higher temperatures without worrying about burning the food, but also releasing carcinogens that has to do with when you cook things at too high of a heat, but also oxidating the fat. So that's why I like cooking with ghee, but you can cook with whatever oil of your choice. Welcome. And into the pan, what I do, this is, I'm going to take you step by step through my breakfast. So here I have Applegate Farms chicken and sage sausage. So if you're not a meat eater, that's totally cool. I am. It just helps me feel more energetic and satiated. I like these frozen chicken sausages because I don't have to do anything to them. In fact, I'll take them out of the freezer on Sunday night and put them in the fridge. That way they cook even more quickly, but you can cook them straight out of the freezer. And the ingredient list is also important. I think you guys should be able to see that. So there's chicken, and then water, and then some sugar, salt, spices, and sage. So even though there is a little bit of sugar, the total amount of sugar in the actual food that you're eating is 0 because it's so negligible. Good morning. Bonjour. It also has 10 grams of protein, and that's for 3 links, and I'm actually only having 2. That's plenty for me. You know, I talked a couple weeks ago about convenience foods. If eating healthy, you find it challenging because you don't have the time or you don't have the inclination to cook, if you want to eat healthy, sometimes you're going to have to spend a little bit more money and buy some convenience foods. I've, from lots of experience, it doesn't have to be more money. You just have to be a little bit smarter, you know, shop when things are on sale, make sure you're buying things that are worth it. For me, these are worth it. When I have clients at 6 o'clock in the morning, I don't have a ton of time to make breakfast. So you're going to have to make that decision for yourself. So I have the chicken sausages over here in my pan, just heating up. And like I said, I only have 2 of them. There we go. go. Okay, so next thing I'm going to throw in here, and this is another kind of meal prep tip. This is a giant, not really a giant, it's a normal size bowl of roasted sweet potatoes. So you might notice there's white and orange. They're actually yams, not sweet potatoes. That's a whole other thing. What's the difference between a yam and a sweet potato? So I have regular kind of the typical orange sweet potatoes that you might see, or yams that you might see in the grocery store, as well as the white Japanese one. I really like them. I think it's important to get your nutrients from different foods. So what I do is I had one giant orange yam and one giant Japanese sweet potato, about, this long, and that's about half of each. So that giant bowl is about one big sweet potato that'll last me through the whole week. You can hear the sausage sizzling. So if you watched my Periscope last Wednesday about carbs and when to have them, because Simona, I know you're gonna have a question about why am I having them for breakfast. I also mentioned last week that you have to see yourself what works for you. I do believe, and research shows and anecdotes show, that having a lower carbohydrate breakfast and kind of increasing your carbs throughout the day are gonna help stabilize your hormone levels. For me, because I'm so active, I know I need to have a little bit of carbs at breakfast. So I'm just gonna put maybe like 2 tablespoons worth of these sweet potatoes in here. And so what I did yesterday, actually, and this is what I usually do, is I will, cube them and toss them with some ghee or coconut oil and roast them at about 375 for 45 minutes. I also add Flavor God garlic seasoning, that's it. So I have this kind of container of cubed sweet potatoes that I could use for breakfast during the week if I need it for dinner, or to throw on a salad. So I'm just gonna stir these up. So this is already, like, the sausage and the sweet potatoes are pretty much done already. So what I do next, I'm gonna just turn that down, is I add the kale. So I love these, again, talking about convenience foods, these pre-bagged kale, bags of kale rather. So this is organic kale, and the thing about kale is it can be tough. So these are already pre-chopped, so all I have to do is add it in. If you read the label, it does have 10% of your calcium, 260% of your vitamin A, and 170% of vitamin C. Do those exact numbers matter? No. My point is when you're trying to eat healthy or healthfully, you want to vary the foods you eat. So when I have kale, I try to make sure, for another meal, I have a different kind of green. So right now I'm just going to turn the heat down a little. I have the heat on like medium high, and now that I'm adding the kale, because that cooks really quickly, I'm just going to stir it around and kind of make sure it gets covered with some of the ghee, some of the cooking oil, the fat. And then I'm going to take, this is my secret weapon. So this is my secret weapon for breakfast, and specifically for the Sunny Runny eggs, the top of the pot. So I'm putting that on there and I'm turning it down to low. And usually this is like around the time that I make myself some coffee and wait for that to cook down a little bit. So from start to finish, you guys are seeing me make breakfast this morning. Someone mentioned kale's really good for the bowels. I have to agree. Also, last week we discussed on my Wellness Wednesday Periscope that you want to vary how you eat your kale and other cruciferous vegetables prepared. So if you're only eating them raw, there's a potential that you're missing on some of the nutrients, because some of the nutrients are more absorbable when cooked and added with fat specifically. So those fat-soluble vitamins like A, E, D, and K. And as you remember, this has 260% of your daily value of vitamin A. If you're not eating fat with it, though, you're not absorbing that. So very important to not be afraid of fat. Healthy forms. So also kale has something called oxalates, which in some circles is known as an anti-nutrient. So it does prevent the absorption of nutrients in the kale, but also in the other foods you're eating. So cooking the kale will kind of break that down. I'm not saying never have a raw kale salad again. I'm very big on eating what you enjoy, so I do vary how I prepare my kale. So right here, I'm going to just kind of see if I can bring you guys over to this. So there's my pan, okay? It's got the sweet potatoes and the kale, and what I'm going to do is make a little like nest. And I'm going to turn the heat down a little because this is a new stove for me, so I'm just kind of figuring out how to use it. So what I'm going to do is take you guys back over. I hope you're getting hungry. It smells really good in here. Okay, so here's my trick for how to make the perfect Sunny Runny egg. Welcome if you're just joining. So I have sweet potatoes, kale, and sausage going in my pan. And here I have my egg. It's a pasture-raised egg. I am very big on eating the yolks. The yolks are where a lot of the nutrients are. So I just cracked that egg right in the middle of the little nest I created. I'm going to put that top back on. And I'm just going to let that sit on low heat for like 3 minutes. It really depends on your stove, your pan, your impatience level. So in the pan I have pre-roasted sweet potatoes or yams that I made yesterday that are coated with garlic seasoning, some chicken sausage that comes in the freezer section. One of the healthier versions has very few ingredients and very clean ingredients, low sodium, no sugar, and the pre-bagged kale. So I'm using pretty much all convenience items. And then I'm just adding my egg in there. And so when I put the top on the egg, or on the pan rather, like so, that's going to help the egg cook slowly and evenly. So that's how you get a really nice sunny runny egg without it cooking over. And so the steam from putting the top on is going to trap that in there. So just talking a little bit while I wait for my egg to finish. Welcome, Lenny. Why I think research shows that for breakfast you want to kind of avoid something high in carbohydrates. I mean, most people are going to understand that like a croissant is probably not the best, or a bagel or anything really carbohydrate dense is probably not the best option for breakfast. But what about something like oatmeal or whole wheat bread, or, you know, something to that degree? I talked last week on Wellness Wednesday about carbs and how they influence your hormones, specifically insulin and cortisol. If you have trouble losing weight, maintaining your weight, sleeping, if you're feeling really sluggish, you might want to look at kind of bread is horrible. Yeah, I mean, no, bread's delicious. Let's just get that straight. It's delicious, but it's horrible for you. I love bread. One of my great pleasures in life is like really good bread with butter, but I avoid it because I know that I can't kind of stop eating it once I start. So I really save it for special occasions. And it's not good for you. No, whether it's whole wheat, you know, sourdough, gluten-free is like the devil's word for making people think something's healthy. Of course, if you're gluten intolerant or celiac and you want to have bread, gluten-free bread is the only option, and I'm glad it's there for people who are, but it's not something that you should have in your regular rotation. It should really be, a once in a while kind of option. While I'm rambling, I'm almost overcooking my egg, so excuse me for a moment. So I have this little nest. This is really pretty too, so I do want you to see that. See how I have that like egg right in the middle of everything? So I'm going to plate this up down here. So as I was mentioning, why you want to have, carbs for breakfast, or not a lot of carbs for breakfast, sometimes even none. I do have some sweet potatoes in here because I live a very active lifestyle, and I'm one of those crazy people that has an Apple Watch that lets me know how many steps I walk a day, and it's like over 20,000 every day. So I'm okay with having about 2 tablespoons of sweet potatoes in the morning, but also I found that it just helps me sustain my energy, so you have to figure out what works for you, but definitely want to avoid, the super duper carb-laden meals like oatmeal or even smoothies. I mean, I do think there's some instances where smoothies are appropriate, but especially in colder weather, it's not very comforting. It's a little bit jarring to your digestive system. So here we have my breakfast, which includes, oh, you're coming in, Curtis, for the grand finale. So we have I'm just going to take it this way so you can see. So there we have our sunny runny egg, and you see how it's like nice and jiggly. That's how it should be. Apple Watch isn't accurate. Yeah, you're right. Most of these like step counters are not. My point is that I'm someone who's curious about that. So, I mean, it's a nice reminder to get up and move. So, yeah, I would agree. But back to the breakfast. So we have your sunny runny egg. I have 2 little chicken sausages in there. You could leave the meat out. Hi from Russia. Pre-made Japanese yams and orange sweet potatoes. And then the most important part, if you ask me, hot sauce. So I just dribble a little hot sauce on there. And so this breakfast is filled with protein. Like I said, there was 10 grams of protein for 3 chicken sausages, so it's about 7.5 grams of protein just from that, plus the protein from the egg, plus vitamin K and A and fiber from the kale. You have that beautiful green kale and orange sweet potatoes, which means they're super high in nutrients, beta carotene for the sweet potatoes. So this is going to keep you full much longer. I'm going to have this when I tune out and some of my coffee, and I'm not going to be hungry for like 4 hours. There's a very big misconception, which I think I'm going to talk about maybe later this week, about, how often we should be eating. Again, it's going to vary from person to person, and you should do what works for you. But this whole kind of like, I need to eat every 3 hours to fuel my metabolism situation is not necessarily accurate. If you need to eat every 3 hours, your hormones and your insulin are probably a little bit out of whack, as is your blood sugar levels. you know, whether or not you are interested in things like ancestral health. So in other words, like what people who lived for a long time before us lived like. So, you know, this is our current state. This eating every 4 hours thing, every 3 hours, is a very new phenomena. People didn't always have food at their ready to eat every few hours, right? They ate when they could. So eating on a time schedule, you know, 7, 12, and 5 is kind of like a new phenomenon. And welcome back, Simona. So you should, rather than listen to what the diet books say or what your friend who lost weight says or, you know, what general opinion says, you have to listen to your body. So you should eat, you know, when you're hungry, you should have foods on hand that fuel your body. And you should stop eating before you're full, actually, because it takes about 20 minutes for you to realize that you're full. So here's my breakfast. I'm going to go eat it. No worries. If you missed the scope, so just a reminder, the scopes, hi, welcome. I see you guys are tuning in now, but some of you guys have been following the whole time, so I hate to keep rambling. Welcome. I'm Liz. I'm a fitness and food coach from New York City. I just made my sunny runny eggs with kale and chicken sausage and sweet potatoes and hot sauce. So if you missed the scope, it does stay up for about 24 hours, 23 hours. I also, no, you're not going to see me eat. I'm going to go sit at my kitchen table and eat and enjoy my breakfast. I'm glad to hear that you're hard boiling eggs. Great, Simona. If you missed the scope, you can catch it thank you for the next 23 hours. I also send them out to my newsletter list. So if you go to lizbarnett.com, I'm actually going to put up a link to sign up for my newsletter later today. So that's LIZBARNET.com. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at Liz Barnett, where I include all other kinds of information as well. I scope Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for Meal Prep Monday, Wellness Wednesday, and Fitness Friday. So hopefully I'll see you guys again then soon. Thanks for tuning in so early if you're on the East Coast of America with me. If you're elsewhere, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.